Good morning, boys and girls. Today we're going to read the next 3 chapters in our chapter book, The Escape from Mr. Lemoncello's Library. Chapter 37. Ever wonder if this could reek any worse, said Akimi, because it couldn't. Yo, none of us pulled a clunker card, growls Miguel. That means somebody on Charles' team did. Charles's team did. Akimi and Miguel are right, Kyle, said Sierra. This really isn't fair. I know, was all Kyle could say. But it's like in Mr. Lemoncello's Family Frenzy, where one player pulls the orthodontist card and everybody has to move back 7 spaces to buy their kids braces. Kyle and his teammates were back in Community Meeting Room B. They'd been staring at the clue board, wondering what a wailing blackbird had to do with Willy Wonka and the 10 Commandments. Not to mention that long list of books and all the statues, when a voice in the ceiling made its announcement about the Dewey Decimal doors being locked for 14 hours. Well, Mr. Lemoncello better have a good reason, said Akimi. Oh, I do, said Mr. Lemoncello. His face appeared on one of the meeting room walls, which was a really giant plasma screen video monitor. Team Kyle is not being penalized for Team Charles's blunder, he said. Far from it. In fact, you are being rewarded. Akimi arched her eyebrows in disbelief. Really? How? The other team's penalty gives you a wrinkle in time. A wrinkle in time? Said Kyle. Is that a clue? No, it's a book. And sometimes, Kyle, a book is just a book. But thanks to the clunker card, you have the gift of wrinkled time to seek clues outside the 10 Dewey Decimal rooms. Speaking of time, a magazine available in our periodicals section, it's dinner time. So the game is basically suspended until 10 o'clock tomorrow, said Kyle. Well, Kyle, that is up to you. You can use this time as a bonus to think, read, and explore, or you can run upstairs and play video games all night long. The choice is yours. We want to win this game, said Kyle. His teammates all nodded in agreement. Wondermus, said Mr. Lemoncello. Keep working that puzzle, but try to avoid Mrs. Basil E. Frankweiler's files. They're all mixed up. And before you turn in this evening, you might want to spend some time curled up with a good book. You just said the book rooms are locked, said Akimi. The nice lady in the ceiling was only talking about the 10 Dewey Decimal rooms. There are plenty of first-class fiction in the Rotunda reading room. Dr. Zinchenko has even selected 7 books specifically for our 7 remaining contestants. After dinner, you'll find those books on her desk. When he said that, Mr. Lemoncello started winking. I think you'll find the books to be very enlightening, inspirational even. And then he winked some more. And now I must return to my side of the mountain. See you all in the morning, children. I have great expectations for you all. Mr. Lemoncello's image disappeared from the wall. Okay, said Akimi. From the way Mr. Lemoncello was just winking, either somebody kicked a bucket of sand in his face, or our recommended reading list is another clue. On the other side of the rotunda, Charles huddled with Andrew in meeting room A. I don't trust Haley, he said. Why not? Charles placed his hand on Andrew's shoulder. Well, my friend, I'm not sure I should tell you this, but Haley told me she didn't think you were handsome enough to appear in Mr. Lemoncello's holiday commercials with us when we win. Because of my glasses? Charles bit his lip, nodded. Of course, I totally disagree. I see, said Andrew, his ears burning bright red. Then she doesn't get to see what we found in that Anne of Green Gables book. Very well, Andrew, if that's how you want to play it. You bet I do. Fine, let's go see what's for dinner. I'm starving. When Charles and Andrew entered the cafe, the Keeley team was already inside filling their trays. Hey, way to go, Charles, joked Miguel Fernandez. You guys pulled a clunker card? Indeed we did. However, not even that bit of bad luck can derail our juggernaut. Huh? Said Akimi. He means we're still gonna win, said Andrew. Charles and Andrew crossed to the far side of the room to join Haley, who was sitting in the corner. You guys find any clues this afternoon? She asked. Sadly, no, said Charles. All we found was that door-locking penalty, said Andrew, who could lie almost as well as Charles. How about you, Haley? Find anything interesting? Nope, nada. Then she yawned and finished her dinner. I think I'll head upstairs and sack out. Really? It's only 8:48. I know, but I'm totally pooped. She yawned again. Plus, I want to be up bright and early before the Dewey Decimal doors reopen. We have more clues to find. See you guys tomorrow. Unless we have more team business to discuss? No, nothing. She walked out of the cafe. Chapter 38. Very interesting, said Akemi, looking through the cafe's glass walls into the rotunda reading room. What? Said Miguel. I think Clarence just dropped off our books. Kyle pushed back from the table. He could see the shadowy figure of bulky security guard slinking away from the round desk at the center of the rotunda. He left behind a stack of books. Come on, he said. Let's go see what sort of inspirational reading Dr. Zinchenko had selected for us. What about those guys? Said Miguel, gesturing toward the table where Charles and Andrew were finishing their desserts. Kyle was torn. On one hand, he didn't want to give away the bonus his team had received thanks to the other team's penalty. But on the other hand, he didn't want people saying that he and his friends won because Mr. Lemoncello had tossed them an extra clue. He came up with a compromise. Hey, Charles, Andrew, we're about to go grab some books to read to kill time before tomorrow morning. You two might want to do the same thing. No thanks, Charles stood up. We pretty much have this thing figured out. In fact, I think Mr. Lemoncello steered us toward the clunker card so we wouldn't win too easily. I mean, how would it look if we escaped from his library in less than 24 hours? Bad, said Andrew. Real bad. Indeed, said Charles. In fact, I suspect nobody would buy Lemoncello games anymore if we showed them how consistently easy they were to win. Anyway, we're going upstairs so I can give Andrew a tour of my private suite. Would any of you care to join us? No thanks, said Akemi. Suit yourself. Oh, and by the way, Mr. Lemoncello has a real video game console upstairs. Kyle felt his mouth go dry. It's top-of-the-line equipment, and it plays real games, not just educational stuff. Care to join us, Keeley? We're going to play Squirrel Squad 6, the new edition. According to the game box, it won't be released to the general public until early December. Kyle felt sweat beading on his forehead. His palms were moist. His fingers were twitching, itching to thumb-toggle a joystick. But finally, after the inside of his mouth had turned to sandpaper, he said, No thanks, Charles. We're just, gonna read. After Charles and Andrew headed up to the third floor to play what was probably the most awesome version ever of Mr. Lemoncello's awesome video game ever, if Charles Chillington was actually telling the truth, Kyle and his teammates hurried out to see what books were waiting for them on the librarian's table. They found 7 different versions of the same book, the complete Sherlock Holmes. One was leather-bound limited edition, the other was a tattered paperback, 3 were hardcovers with different illustrations on the fronts, 1 was the bigger kind of paperback with lots of scholarly essays, and the 7th was an e-reader with only 1 title loaded onto it. I think Mr. Lemoncello wants us to start a book club, said Sierra. What do you mean? Asked Kyle. We all read the same book and then to get together later to discuss it and share our opinions? It's fun, said Miguel. We have a book club at school. Are you in it? Said Sierra. Yeah, maybe you'd like to join us sometime. I would. Thank you, Miguel. Akemi cleared her throat. Now what? She said to Kyle. Kyle shrugged. Like I told Charles. We read. Everybody grabbed a copy of the Sherlock Holmes book. Nobody went for the e-reader. Upstairs on the 3rd floor, Haley tiptoed around the Lemoncello Biblia room. When she had visited the mini-museum earlier, she hadn't really looked around. Now she hoped to find another book from the memorable Reads display, a little golden book called Baby's Mother Goose Pat a Cake, which could have been something Mr. Lemoncello read or had read to him when he was a very young boy. Haley made her way past the orderly stacks of boxes through a doorway and into what looked like a recreation of Mr. Lemoncello's childhood bedroom, a cramped space crammed with 2 bunk beds that he had shared with his 3 brothers. Next to one of the lower bunks was a bookcase made out of plastic milk crates. There it was, filed away with maybe 3 dozen other skinny, hardboard-covered picture books. Haley pried open the cover. Out plopped a 4x4 art card. She quickly folded the clue in half and stuffed it inside her sneaker with her bandit's clue. Now she was pretty certain that the bandits had, at one time or another, crawled in to this building back when it was a bank. The silhouette of Indiana didn't represent the Indy 500, like Charles had insisted. It stood for IN, the official post office abbreviation for the Hoosier State. First thing in the morning when the doors reopened, she needed to search through the Dewey Decimal doors to find a clue that would tell her exactly how and where the bandits had crawled in. A tunnel, an air vent, a secret passageway on the first, second, or third floor between the old bank and the office building behind it. There was only one thing Haley was certain of. They hadn't crawled in through the book return slot. Chapter 39. Everyone in the reading room was quietly lost in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Kyle finished a pretty cool story called A Scandal in Bohemia about a king who was going to get married to a royal heiress and with maybe 6 names, but the king was being blackmailed by an old girlfriend, an opera singer from New Jersey named Irene Adler. Something Sherlock Holmes said to Dr. Watson early in the story really stuck with Kyle. You see, but you do not observe. Kyle figured that was why Mr. Lemoncello wanted them all to take a break from chasing clues and read these classic mysteries. Not to find new clues, but to become better puzzle solvers. Had they been seeing things without really observing them? Probably. Reading the story was also kind of fun. Kyle could totally see Holmes' apartment at 221B Baker Street and the snooty king and the horse-drawn carriages on the foggy London streets, and the disguises Holmes wore, and the smoke bomb Dr. Watson tossed through the window, and everybody on the street screaming, "Fire!" It was like watching a 3D IMAX movie in his head. Kyle couldn't wait to start the second story in the book, The Adventures of the Red-Headed League. "How's it going?" whispered Kimmy. "This book is pretty cool. This Sir Arthur Conan Doyle guy really knows how to keep his readers hooked. His characters leap off the pages," said Sierra. "Yeah," said Miguel. "I dig the consulting detective." "Huh?" said Kyle. "That's what Holmes calls himself sometimes." "Oh, I've only read one story so far," and suddenly something seemed odd to Kyle. "Hey, how come Conan Doyle isn't one of those statues up there?" "What do you mean?" said Kimmy. "He's a famous author, right? How come they're projecting a statue of a modern writer like Pseudonymous Bosque, but not the author who created a classic like Sherlock Holmes?" "Good question, bro," said Miguel. "I need to consult with my brother Curtis." "How come?" "Curtis has read more books than anyone I know, except maybe Sierra. He scored an 808 on his SAT subject test in literature." Kyle," said Kimmy, "I think the top score for any SAT test is 800. "Yep, then Curtis took it and they had to raise it." "So maybe he can help us figure out what's up with all those statues," said Miguel. "Exactly. Why these 10? Why not 10 other writers? Why not the same 10 Bridget Wadge had for her extreme challenge?" added Sierra. Kyle looked around the room. "Mrs. Taubin! Hello, Mrs. Taubin!" The hazy holographic image of the 1960s librarian flickered into view. "How may I help you, Kyle?" "I would like to talk to an expert." "And whom do you wish to speak to?" "Mr. Curtis Keeley." "Your brother?" "And a SAT certified expert in the subject of literature and authors and other literary type junk." Suddenly the hologram vanished and Dr. Zinchenko's voice came over the speakers. "This is a rather irregular request, Mr. Keeley." "Hey," said Kimmy, "this whole game is rather irregular, don't you think?" "We just need some more data," said Kyle, "because like Sherlock says to Watson, it is capital mistake to theorize before one has data." "I take it you're enjoying your book?" said the librarian. Kyle gave the closest security camera a big thumbs up. "Booyah! Can't wait to see what's up with that League of Red-Headed Gentlemen." "Ah, yes," said Dr. Zinchenko. "A fascinating story. I recently reread it myself." "Very well, Kyle. We will contact your brother to determine if he does indeed qualify as a literary expert. It may take a while." "No rush," said Kyle. "I've got a good book." Kyle was busy helping Holmes figure out that the Red-Headed League was just a clever ploy pulled by some robbers to get a red-haired pawnbroker to leave his shop long enough for them to dig a tunnel from his basement to the bank next door when the librarian's voice jolted him out of London and brought him home to Ohio. My apologies for the interruption. Kimmy, Miguel, and Sierra closed their books too. It was 11:15. Everyone had sleepy, dreamy looks in their eyes because they had kind of been drifting off in their comfy reading chairs. "What's up?" said Kyle. "We have arranged for your expert consultation with Mr. Curtis Keeley." "Awesome. How do we do it?" "You and your expert may have a 5-minute video chat on my computer terminal, which is located behind the main desk." Kyle hurried over to the round desk in the center of the room. His three teammates hurried right behind him. Your consultation begins now. And there was Curtis, sitting at his computer in his bedroom. Hey, Curtis. Hey, Kyle, how's it going in there? Great. Kyle's oldest brother, Mike, popped into the doorway behind Curtis. Kyle, Kyle, Mike chanted. Woo-woo. Kyle had never had his own cheerleader before. We need you to give us 110% in there, little brother. Mike squinted at the screen over Curtis's shoulder. Who are those other guys? My teammates, Miguel, Sierra, and you know, Kimmy. You guys are a team? Smart move. Even I can't win football games without the help from 10 other guys. Mike, said Kyle, Curtis and I only have 5 minutes to chat. Cool, I'm out of here. Win, baby, win. Mike backpedaled out of the bedroom, making double fist bumps the whole way. You have 4 minutes remaining, advised Dr. Zinchenko. Okay, Curtis, here's my question. What do these authors have in common? Kyle rattled off the list of the statues in order, and Curtis stared blankly into his computer cam for a really long time. Come back here, bud. Then he shook his head. I'm sorry, Kyle. I have no earthly idea.